Good morning. Hey, welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1141, 1141. Good morning. Happy Friday. It's Madison Card Show Eve. We've got the Madison Card Show coming up tomorrow. The Sheraton Hotel, John Nolen Drive. 175 dealer tables. We are sold out. We've got 3 ballrooms open. The State Street Ballroom, the Williamson Ballroom, both of those on the first floor of the Sheraton Hotel. If you're coming in the front door into the lobby, if you go straight back past the elevators to the right, that's the Williamson Ballroom. If you go straight back past the little MG, actually it's a Fiat. The little Fiat in the front lobby, go past the Fiat, past the elevators. Yes, it's a real Fiat, full size, which Fiats are small if you know your Italian sports cars. Past the elevators to the left, that's the State Street Ballroom. Doors also open to the parking lot around back to the State Street Ballroom. And then upstairs, we've got the Capitol Ballroom and the mezzanine, all filled, 175 tables, 9 to 3 of the show hours, and the admission is free. So I'm looking forward to it. I am approaching 1 million Cubs baseball cards. When will I get there? Probably in the next week. Probably. Stay tuned. I did an opening day count. I was holding some mail back because I wanted to open something on opening day. Open cards. So my my updated count, 998,419, about 1,500 cards away from the goal of 1 million Cubs baseball cards. So we'll see what I pick up. Will I get any mail in the next few days? What will I pick up tomorrow at the Madison Card Show? I might splurge on some Cubs tomorrow, the Madison Card Show. We'll see. But stay tuned because I have a plan, and I think I'll be getting close to the number this week. So follow my Twitter feed at 1 million Cubs on Twitter, because as we get closer and closer, I'm going to be counting down. Thanks to, I think Cody gave me this idea. I'm not going to do a video, but I will count down the last 100 cards, and I'll focus and feature a card. So I'm probably going to be blowing up your Twitter feed this week. And then stay tuned because there may or may not be something big happening next Friday, a week from today. Next Friday, April 5th. Stay tuned. Didn't have any dogs to chase yesterday, but had some reporters come from the Wisconsin State Journal. They visited yesterday morning, had a great conversation. Article will be published, I think, sometime next week, mid to end of next week. Be on the lookout for that, Wisconsin State Journal. And of course, I'll be sharing it on my platforms as well. I think the biggest thing that came out of yesterday's visit from the newspaper was my wife. She does have, I always say, refer to her as my wife, but it's like, do I reveal her name? Her name's Amy, by the way. Most of you probably already knew that. Some of you already knew that. So Amy, my wife, gave her first interview with the media. It took 998,000 cards to get there, but Amy finally agreed to speak to the media. I think Biscuit's down here, which is strange for 7:17 in the morning. Biscuit? Strange. Thought I heard her. Well, maybe not. Anyway, she granted an interview with the media. I didn't think she was, when I told her they were coming, she's like, oh, I have an appointment at 10. My wife is very she does not like going, she's like the anti, when it comes, you think of realtors, you think of type A, hey, I'm a realtor. Let me sell your house. Kind of like used car salesman. And my wife is like the antithesis. Antithesis, is that the correct word? She's like the anti that. She's very reserved. And she doesn't want to be in the spotlight. She does not want to be interviewed. She does not want to, praise. She just wants to put her head down and work. So when she came down, I'm like, oh, hey. And Jim, the reporter, said, perfect. I actually want to ask you some questions. And I'm like, oh, get ready to be told no. And she's like, well, I actually do have some time. I'm like, what? Really? Okay. So, and the thing is, you all want to hear more. You want to hear her side of this. You've heard my side of the story for 1,141 episodes of Hobby Evolution, countless tweets, multiple interviews. So what are you going to do with them? Do duplicates count? What are you going to do when you hit 1 million? What's your most valuable card? Those are like the top 5 questions. In fact, I gave them a walkthrough of the card, where the Cubs are, my eBay store, basically, and then this room. And we kind of got into the nuts and bolts of the interview. And I think I said before like the interview began, it was just kind of shit. And it wasn't really an interview. It was just kind of like, just talk, which I like. I like that. Off the cuff. Sometimes you got to remember you're on the record. So I said, well, the 2 most common questions I get are, do duplicates count? Yes. And there are only roughly 225,000 unique Cubs cards dating back to 1887. Second most common question, what are you going to do when you hit 1 million? Jim goes, actually, that question was on my list. I'm like, I know it. It's on everybody's list. And then the third most common question, what's your most valuable card? So we went over that. And we talked about that, and I was going through, and I'm like, I honestly don't know what that showcase of 48 cards, I couldn't tell it. I mean, some of them I could tell you roughly, because like I see the red shiny Christopher Morel. I know what I paid for it 2 months ago. And it's probably worth roughly the same as what I paid for it 2 months ago, maybe a little bit more. But like the other stuff, and a lot of it's like pre-war in that showcase. It's pre-war. It's not, there's not a huge spike. Frank Chance isn't going to go hit 50 home runs this year. So there's typically not huge spikes. Now, some of them have dropped significantly since I bought like Gleyber Torres, who shouldn't be in that showcase anymore. But it's like, I really don't like, once I acquire my Cubs cards, like I don't care. And sometimes I overpay and I'm okay with it. There was I think one of the YouTubers put out a video, like, you should always negotiate. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't. For me, like a perfect example, and I was going through this, and it might've been the same day I saw that headline or that thumbnail. Dansby Swanson, a booklet from like National Treasures, Dansby Swanson, Vanderbilt, with an auto and like a jumbo patch or whatever. And it's a booklet. It's like, oh, that's really cool. I like this. And it was like a high school kid who was selling it. And I'm like, what do you got on the Dansby? And he's like, I was thinking $50. And I'm like, I'm thinking that's a good deal. I have no idea what it comes at. It might be a $25 card. But I think $50 is a fair price. You should always negotiate. And those people that say that, well, you should have said 35. So then he would have said 45. And then you come up to 40. And it's like, fuck that. Fuck that, man. Like, why no head games? I don't want drama and head games. Like, I think $50 is a good price. I am willing to pay $50 for this card. I don't care if that's his asking price, and I should negotiate because I can save $10, but spend an extra 2 minutes to get there. Because it's not just like, it's not a back and forth. It's like, I do, you're going to think about it. You're going to think about it because you're playing a game. I don't know. And then you're going to shit on the card. This is how negotiations work. Somebody gives, okay, this is the card. I want $50 for it. You want the card, but you don't want to show that you want the card. So you're going to be like, $50, huh? And this is how negotiation. $50. Okay. Well, he's in a college uniform. The autograph, there's a little blemish on the autograph. You're going to shit all over the card that you are wanting to purchase. This is how negotiations work. And it sucks. I hate it. That's why I don't negotiate. It's like, okay, here's this is your price. I don't like your price. This is my price. This is my real price. This isn't like one of these games that I'm playing to get to a different price. Here's my price. I don't like your price. This is my price. You don't like my price? Walk away. And then you're going to be like, well, he's going to be like, oh man, I've got $50 into it. I do like 45. And then you're going to be like, well, I just, it's a college. Yeah. I saw one on, this is negotiators. And you're going to be like, I tell you what, I'll split it in the middle. That's the classic. I'll split it in the middle, man, bro. I tell you what, I'll do 40, no higher. And then the other guy's going to be like, this is negotiators. I don't know, I got $50 in it. Yeah. I really got to be at 45. And then the other guy's going to be like, this is negotiating. See how annoying this shit is? $50 sold. And that kid who sold it for 50 is probably, call me stupid, Max. I'm stupid. Negotiators, stupid. 50, but he's probably like, he might have walked away and he's like, what a sucker. He didn't negotiate. What a sucker. I would have sold that for $40. Oh, I'm dumb. I lost $10. I thought it was a good deal. If I don't think it's a good deal, I'm not going to buy the damn card. Like, you're not handcuffing me to this deal. It's either you buy it or you don't. $50. If I didn't like the price, I would have said, I don't like that price. I'll give you 40. And then he probably would have been 45. And I'd be like, no, it's 40. Like, I did a parking lot deal at one of the big Rockford shows, like a year and a half ago. And the guy, and I'm going through all the cards. It's one of those bulk deals. And it's like, it's a pain in the ass. It was the basketball, which is more of a pain in the ass. More of a pain in the ass because it was like jerseys and basketball. And so, of course, the seller is going to be like, you can make this much. It's kind of like when you go to a sales job. If you've ever been in sales, this is how they get you in sales jobs. They say, you have the potential earning power of $500,000. And it's like, can you give me a list of people that are making $500,000 in your company that are making $500,000? And it's like a list of one out of 17,000 salespeople. It's like, I know I have the potential. I also have the potential to run a 26-mile marathon, but that's not going to happen. You saw me huffing and puffing running around the park for Rosie the dog the other day. So the seller's like, I think you could make $3 or $4 grand on this. And I'm like, I probably could over the course of 3 years and multiple hours, but that's not how this game works. So I'm looking through and it's like, and my offer was 1,000, which was still probably a little bit of an overpay. Like it probably, and I actually told him through this conversation that he probably could get more from another dealer inside the show. He probably couldn't have. I don't think he was going to get anybody offering more than 1,000. I think most dealers probably would have said 500 and then played the negotiation game and got somewhere around 800. So I said 1,000. And he's like, so he all of a sudden came down from 3,000 to 4,000 to like 1,500. That was fast. And I'm like, no, I've really got to be at 1,000. And he's like, how about 1,200? I'm like, no, my number is 1,000. Like, I'll go less than 1,000, but I'm not going to go more than 1,000. And he took 1,000. Negotiating. Ugh. I used to be a terrible negotiator. Because I didn't have much sales experience before I took a job in the transportation industry, working in sales, which is very cutthroat in transportation. And there's a lot of fucking negotiations. And I hated it. And it's like, you know what? And I like, and sometimes my you should have negotiated that. And it's like, no, because this is the market. You know, I'm not greedy on margin. This is the margin I'm going to get. And there's no sense in, and sometimes I would walk, well, you should have taken less from the customer to get the deal. And it's like, no, because I've done that before. And if you start doing that over and over with a client, they're going to take advantage. Like, oh, I can get, if he says 700, he doesn't really mean it. So you have to kind of you got to get not abrasive, but you got to get tough. You got to give them tough love. It's like 700 means 700. No means no, and 700 means 700. At $1 less. I'm not against negotiating, but I hate it. I think there's a time and a place for some negotiations. I'm not completely 100% anti-negotiation, but a lot of it I am. And I think I'm jaded by my transportation experience. And I'm also jaded by being a low-end eBay seller. When you sell $1.50 cards on eBay and you get an offer for $1 and you counter it $1.40 and they counter it $1.07, it's like, really? Like, just buy it for $1.50. So now I don't even, this doesn't apply to you, Steve. Steve did send me a text message. He's like, hey, I'm going to send you some offers. So Steve, I will be getting to your offers today if you're watching. So that's my little soapbox on negotiating, which I've ranted about negotiating in the past, but how did we get on this topic? How did we get on the negotiating topic? I have no idea. Hey, but we're close to 1 million Cubs cards. Somewhere in that crazy train. Opening day was yesterday. I watched baseball from I wasn't glued to the TV, but I was in here most of the day. And in fact, I was working in here until like 10:15. I do feel I have done a disservice with the Madison Card Show this month. I have not promoted it properly. Which was my fear going into the month because of spring training. I knew once I returned from spring training, it was going to be playing catch up. The Topps Big League release was this week. I knew that I had a lot of irons in the fire, and I feel like I have neglected a bit of my promoting for the Madison Card Show. So I was working on, in fact, I still haven't finished the table layouts. The Capitol Ballroom is finished. The mezzanine is, I just got to fill in 2 spots. I had a question. Somebody who was up in the hallway mezzanine last month, the same spot as last month. And I'm looking around for my maps from last month, and that's the only map I can't find from February. So I had to message him back and be like, hey, I can't find that map. Where were you at? And I I had it down to 2 spots. And so he confirmed one of the 2 spots. Oh, I have 3 spots in there to fill. So, and then the State Street, I've got to get that filled out. So we are sold out, 175 dealer tables. So it's going to be a busy day. So in fact, I listed almost all of the Topps Big League. The exception is the mascots, which I haven't decided if I'm going to list those. I have a customer that comes to the shows that is a big mascot collector. So I may just hold them aside for him. Because the last time I had a whole stack and he's like, yeah, I'll buy them all for, quarter a piece and I give him a discount. So I might just save all those. That's an easier deal. I've got other mascot cards for him. So I think I'm just going to save the mascots for him. And then the blue, I think they're the rare foils. So that's it. I listed the uncommon foils, which are very common. In fact, here's the strange. So my one case, the collation of Topps Big League was actually really good. Like the base, I don't have the specs anymore, threw them away, but the breakdown per card was basically like 10. Like most of them were 10. There were a couple 9s, a couple 11s, and a couple 12s. I didn't have any 8 or less of a card. I didn't have any 13 or more of a card. However, with the foils, that was a different story. Sal Frelick, uncommon foil. I had 15 in the case of 20 boxes. So Sal Frelick was in every box with the exception of, was in, what's that, 80%? Is that right? 75%. What's 15 divided by 20? That's 75%, I think. I should know this. That's a mathematical problem that I should know. And then there were a couple that had like 6. So those are in. I'll get the blue foils listed. It's not a priority maybe today. Shipping is a priority this morning. And then this afternoon, I'll be making my first trip to the Sheraton Hotel to get the name tags down. And then I'll go back tonight and with my 20 tables that I'll be hauling in and getting those set up. So Madison Card Show tomorrow, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolen Drive. Let's get to the chat. Kyle, good morning. Peter's in the house. What's happening? It is a Good Friday. It's Good Friday, the holiday. And it's a Good Friday because it's Friday. Unicorn Cupcakes here. Good morning. Sean is here. What's happening? Sean, what's happening? Long time. Sean, a former dealer. Hopefully we have you back soon to the Madison Card Show. Dan's in the house. What's happening? Good evening to you. There's Steve. What's happening? A Cubs off day already. What do we do? I hate this. I'm okay with it, though, because I am going to be busy today, so I wouldn't, unless it was, even if it was an afternoon game, I would be out and about doing stuff. So I'm okay with today being an off day. But I have a problem with opening day and then an off day. Like, really? Because wasn't it last year or 2 years ago, recent, the Cubs had their off day after opening day. And then like in September, they had 23 straight days of games. And it's like, what are we doing? Can you schedule the opening day off day for like September when it's needed? But I know I think there's 6 or 8 teams that have the off day after opening day. And it's a true opening day for 4 teams. The Brewers, Mets, and who's the other one? Braves and Phillies? I can't remember. Victor, what's happening? Good morning. It does feel it's tough. It is a tough loss times 2. What was I saying yesterday? I felt we would have regression. One of those players was Justin Steele. My fear with Justin Steele was his workload last year. And how can he stay, I don't know if I mentioned healthy, but that's part of it. After pitching so many innings that his body's not used to, is his body going to hold up after that workload? And he was on fire when he was on the mound. He was mowing them down. All of a sudden, he takes a ground ball, comes up, looked like he did something to his hamstring. Sounds like he's going to spend a stint on the IL. There is an MRI today. Hopefully it comes up clear. Of course, the first thing I do is I Google MRI injuries or MRI injuries. The hell? Hamstring injuries. And it can be anywhere from a few days to several months if it requires surgery. So hopefully it's somewhere closer to the few days range, because that would be a huge blow if we miss Justin Steele for a stretch. And then, of course, losing extra innings. And I think, it's just, it was karma. It was karma all the way. Opening day karma in Texas, because the Cubs got away. The Cubs take the lead in the 9th inning. They get away with one. With Miles Mastrobonis at the plate. Foul tip, gets away from Rangers catcher Jonah Heim. Michael Busch, amazing base running. Michael Busch already like, hey, that was a great trade from the Dodgers. Michael Busch comes in to score. The Cubs take a 3-2 lead. Jonah Heim's like, wait, what? That was a foul tip. That's not reviewable, which I did not know until the broadcasters told me that. So it's like they did the replay nights. Oh, shit, that's 100% a foul ball. And the Cubs stole a run. Literally. Rangers get it back, bottom of the 9th. Travis Jankowski, of all people, who has like negative home runs in his career. I think he had 11. I think that's his 11th career home run. Ties the game. We go extras. And guess who wins it for Texas? Of course, karma comes through. Rangers catcher Jonah Heim drives in the winning run in the, bottom of the 11th, I think. So I ain't mad at it. Cubs got away with one. So Rangers come back and win it. It's okay. It's one game. Just don't let one game lead to 2 and 3 and 100. So David's in the house. Good morning. Mr. Archer, what's happening? Good morning to you. I thought Morel had that one last night. Oh, yeah, there was one was that the one that swept to left field foul pole? Excuse me. By the way, yesterday was my first quill-free day. I did not take any NyQuil on I started feeling better on Wednesday night. And I'm still congested. And honestly, this whole week, I haven't felt bad. Like, I've had energy. Like, I've probably been more productive than I have been in a long time, despite dealing with this head stuff. And I felt great. It's just my nasal passages don't feel great. But didn't take any NyQuil Wednesday night. Didn't take any Dayquil yesterday. And yesterday was the first day where I in a week that I actually felt, human again, without having to. I didn't have to carry around a box of Kleenex, which was nice. We've gone through a lot of Kleenex, toilet paper. My wife always gets on me for using toilet paper as Kleenex. She's like, we have Kleenex. I think that's from I think that's from my radio days. And I think a lot of the things that we get caught up on are from the way we used to do it. And when I was poor, I couldn't afford garbage bags. So I had to stuff those garbage like, I don't want to get more garbage bags. And they're using frickin' Walmart bags for garbage. My dad grew up right after the Depression. So like my grandma and grandpa were like living during the Depression. And so that rubbed off on my dad. My dad was significantly older than my mom. 14 years. Hey. So my dad had to live through like penny pinching because his mom and dad were living through the Depression, and he came up right after the Depression. So he's penny pinching his entire life. My uncle, his brother, would always say he's penny wise and a dollar dumb. Which there's a lot of truth to that about my dad. But I think a lot, and similarly for me, like I worked in radio, and if you've ever worked, Zach's worked in radio, you basically pay to work in radio. You make nothing. You make a little bit. You make enough to buy your ramen noodles. And so I think that's where it's like, I can't afford Kleenex. I've got to use toilet paper. But I did always spring for the good toilet paper. That was one thing that I didn't go cheap on. Toilet paper was one thing. You just can't go cheap on toilet paper. So that and garbage. And so my wife's always like, can you take I'm like, we've got like 3 days left of this garbage bag. What are we doing? We're wasting. Let's be a little more green. So now I try to turn it into like being green. It's like, no, I'm not lazy by not taking the trash out. I think we can get 3 more days out of this trash bag. Come on, let's not be wasting all this plastic here. In reality, it's just my laziness. I just don't want to take the trash out. But I think a part of it is I was so accustomed to using every last inch of that trash bag because I couldn't afford another box of trash bags. So we've got to let this one go. I'm using I'm like squeezing. Toothpaste, when you get to the end and you're just like, you are like crimping that bottle of toothpaste in every direction. You are squeezing it. You put your toothbrush at the edge of the sink and you're like, every which way. Oh, I got to drop. And it's like, oh. And so you got to use the tooth. It's like you need 3 hands sometimes to get that last little bit of toothpaste. I still do that. Some things you never outgrow. Mark Marinello, good morning. The aggravation and torment begins today at 1:40 Eastern. Mark, the Mets fan. 12:40. Okay, 12:40. That's a good time for a start time. I watched, kind of as anticipated, the Orioles game, which I really enjoyed the Orioles broadcast. That's one thing I really like about MLB TV is you get to listen into other broadcasts, which normally, and I think I was very spoiled as a Cubs fan. We have, throughout most of my life, have had great TV broadcast teams for the Cubs. I'm not a big fan of our current broadcast team. I've never got on board. And I gave Boog Shambi a year. I'm like, I think we all want homers. I think that's the thing. And Boog's he hasn't come around as a Cubs homer. He's still a national guy. I don't want a national guy. I want a freaking homer. I miss Len Casper. Len Casper was great. So I always loved our broadcast team so much that I'd listen to other broadcasts. It's like, they suck. Ugh. But now that I think our own broadcast team is something to be desired, I'm like, oh, I really like these guys. These guys are better than the Cubs. I really liked, and typically I don't like a 3-man booth because sometimes there's too much, there's too much chatter and people are talking over, and there's nothing more annoying on a broadcast than talking over each other. But the Orioles, and I'm sure, I don't even know who the play-by-play guy is. Whoever the play-by-play guy is for the Orioles, Ben McDonald and Jim Palmer. How about that? Like you get 2 generations of Orioles pitching right there. And I'm like, at first I'm like, I don't know who is who. But then I'm like, oh, Ben McDonald's he's got the Texas twang. And then Jim Palmer, telling Jim Palmer stories. So I really enjoyed the Orioles broadcast. And the Orioles are fun. They're my American League team. Well, the White Sox suck. So it's like, are you going to root for a 100-game loser? So Orioles are going to be my American League team. I enjoyed their broadcast. And then I had the Reds game on. They hammered whoever they were playing. Nationals, Reds Nationals. I had that game on. And then I turned on like the pregame for NCAA before the Cubs game started. Didn't watch any basketball last night. Actually, I take that back. I watched the beginning of San Diego State, Arizona. No, whoever San Diego State was playing. Was it San Diego State? I think so. But I didn't watch any of the Illini game. I was watching Cubs, and Cubs went extra innings, so it was late. So then I went to bed. So Bob's in the house. What's going on? Happy Brewers season opener. Let the Jackson Churio era begin. There you go. Bob will be at the Madison Card Show tomorrow. Max says, yes, the annoying realtors. Let's put your house on the market, even though you have no indication you want to move. Now, I don't even consider those realtors where you get cold calls like, hey, we just sold this house in your neighborhood. Do you want to sell yours? No. No, I don't. It's funny when my wife gets those calls. And she's like, well, I'm actually a realtor. Herman's in the house. Good morning. What's happening, Herman? Max says 100 negotiate everything. It's half the fun when buying cards. See, it's miserable. It's like, I just want the card. I don't want any fun negotiating. Negotiating, not fun. Boston Smoke says your negotiation skit is hilarious, but too many times is very accurate. There's precedence. Zach and Porter says, what not ad before your channel? What do you push their platform on your channel? And why I don't understand how YouTube videos work. Probably the word hobby triggered it. Or it's actually, I think the YouTube ads are based on your own search. It's not based on the video. Because I'll watch like a true crime YouTube video and I'll get a whatnot ad. So it's based on, so if you're getting like OnlyFans ads on your YouTube, look, you better check your Google search because it's going by what you're searching for. Unicorn Cupcake says, if I try to negotiate, I offer my best price and either he accepts or not. No further negotiations allowed. I love it. That's the way it should be. That's what I like. Mark says, most of us in of dealers will work with you if you're not a dick know-it-all. I love to bundle. It almost always works. Heck yeah. The old bundle. Max says, never knew you were so against negotiating. I wouldn't say I'm against negotiating. I'm against stupid negotiating. I'm against the gamification of negotiating. Because it is a game. It comes down to, I want to get to this price, but I'm going to get to it in this fucking 10-minute way. That's a waste of time. Kyle says, sometimes while jacking around with negotiations, someone else just buys the card outright on eBay. I love it when that happens. As a buyer, if it's a good buy, I skip the offers negotiating. Heck yeah. And that's what I think it might have been the Dollar Box the other night was talking about. Was it? I think it was that. I think it was his video about offers and whether to have offers open in your eBay store. And, you don't have to respond to the offers. I ignore a lot of them. And I know it probably does hurt the algorithm. Like eBay wants activity. They want you to respond one way or another. And I've wondered if eBay's algorithm wants you to have like a certain accept offer percentage. I've wondered that, like, oh, you only accept 10% of the offers that come in, so we're going to dock you. I'm just curious if there's anything in the algorithm about that. But it's, like I often get, and the number one reason why I have offers on everything is because like Steve sent me a bunch of offers, and if he would have sent me one offer on one card, I would have not have accepted. I would have either ignored it or declined it. But it's the old bundle deal that somebody mentioned, Mark or somebody. But that's why I have offers open. If you send me 50 offers of $1, I'm going to accept them. And I get that often and make a lot of sales through that process. Now, do I also get a lot of dollar offers on a single card? Absolutely. And you just decline them or counter and let it be gone. But I think it's critical to my business, and everybody's different, but for me, it's critical to have offers open based on how I want to move stuff. And sometimes, and I think Adam mentioned it on his video the other night, sometimes I don't go back and check pricing. Like I have like Topps flagship. I did go back and check some of my flagship prices and updated them. But a lot of times I don't go back and check, and I have release day pricing, which is high. And so if somebody comes in and say I have a card that's priced at $10, Bowman's a really good example. Say I have a first Bowman Chrome, $10. Well, Matt Mervis Bowman Chromes aren't $10 anymore. They were for a glimmer in time. And somebody comes in and offers me $2. I'm happy to sell that Matt Mervis first Bowman Chrome for $2. And they're like, well, that's only 20%. It's like, well, yeah, but my list price is stupid. So it's actually 100% of what it's worth. So that's another reason why I like offers, because I don't go back and change pricing. So if I have something that's, whether it's a release day price or it's just the market on that player is no longer what it was 6 months ago and it's dropped significantly, it's like, oh yeah, I'll take $5 for that card, even though it's listed in my store for 20. Zach says, you were taught how to negotiate and the feeling the other party should experience when walking away. I don't understand why you haven't embraced that. I know. I haven't. I'm playing. Just haven't embraced it. Max says, the Spanish word for business is negocio. Coincidence? I think not. Mikey says, good morning. I just ripped an entire mega box case of Prism basketball. Woof. Max says, stop watching the shitty YouTubers negotiating at a show. That's not how most of this business works. Unfortunately, in the transportation industry, that's how it works. The shitty YouTubers, it's like shitty YouTubers in transportation shipping managers, that's how they work. There's a lot of correlation between shipping in terms of like freight shipping and the transportation industry and low-end sports cards. There's a lot of similarities between the two. Will the Kid says, you ever clean the glass in your scanner? So I'm actually having an issue right now. I'm glad you brought this up. I'm actually having an issue right now with a scanner line in my scans. Now, my Fujitsu, it's a Fujitsu, so that's how old it is. So my 8170 scanner, it is, might be 2 years old now. I had some streaks, and I had somebody say, hey, is this on the card or is it on the scan? And I looked, and I'm like, okay, and I can see because I have the 2mm border, and that scan line goes into the black, into the background. So I'm like, okay, that's a scan line because you can see it go all the way through the entire image. So when I started scanning my big league yesterday, I had that scan. I'm like, oh, I need to take a microfiber, and I use a microfiber cloth and wipe my scanner down. So I did that, and it made it worse. I had 2 scan lines. Unfortunately, I just did one card to test it, and there's a line on the left side of the card and the right. I'm like, shit. So I'm like, okay, now what? And I still had the original scan line on the right side that I had originally, but it was in some scans, it was a little lighter than others. So I may have to, I think James from Chasing Cardboard, James Mize, I think he shared something in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group about cleaning the scanner with something. So I might have to try that, because normally I just use the microfiber, just dry microfiber cloth and wipe it down. So who knows? But my scanner's also has scanned a lot of freaking cards, so it just might be time for a new one. Red Light 34 says, go Reds. That's another team that I like. I don't like them because they're in the National League Central, but I think they're going to be good, and I think they're going to be better than what many people think. I think the Reds could win the National League Central. The NL Central is wide open. I think there's 4 teams that will contend for the NL Central. The Reds, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Cardinals. Sorry, Pittsburgh. The Pirates are just not good. But I think it's a wide open race. Michael Renicky, what's happening? Good morning. You will also see Michael Renicky tomorrow at the Madison Card Show. Max says 75. I'm not sure what that is, but by the way, Max will also be set up tomorrow at the Madison Card Show. It's okay. You have an Illinois education behind you. We will give you a pass. I've got that state school education from Illinois, double whammy, Western Illinois University. Alan's in the house. Good morning. What's happening? Herman says Braves, Phillies. Yeah, okay, Braves, Phillies. Dan says KBO plays 144 games and have Mondays off. Rainouts are made up on those Mondays later in the season. I think KBO's doing it right. I think that's how minor league baseball works now. I think minor league baseball Mondays are an off day. David says off day after opening day is for rainouts like the Mets yesterday. Those who had opening day tickets can go today. And I guess that does make sense. I hate it, but it does make sense, especially in the end of March. If you have games at Wrigley Field on the south side, at whatever field they call the White Sox Stadium these days, these Midwestern, when there's snow on the ground in some places, makes sense. Sal Dougie, good morning. Happy opening day. Jamie's in the house. Happy Friday. Roll Tide. Alabama with the win. I didn't even look. I saw Illinois won, Alabama won, Clemson won. What? Clemson. Wow. Good old trusty Cubs bullpen. Yeah. Here's the thing about last night's Cubs game. I actually, I am certainly no baseball know-it-all when it comes to bullpen management, but I pretend to be one on the internet. I didn't like the way David Ross managed anything. I didn't like the way David Ross managed, period. I liked the way Craig Counsell managed the bullpen last night. I thought it was perfect. When Drew Smiley came in, it's like, why is Drew Smiley in? Like, put in Luke Little or somebody. But then I thought, you know what? That's a really smart play. It's opening day. Drew Smiley's the long man in the bullpen. You go Drew Smiley. He put in Adbert Alzolay in the 9th inning. Like, it worked out. It actually worked out perfectly with Neris as the setup. Merriweather comes in. Merriweather's kind of a longer reliever. He comes in for Steele, but Steele went, 5+ innings. So it was pretty close to a quality game, quality start. And then Neris came in, and then Merriweather, Neris, Alzolay. So Neris is the setup guy for Alzolay. Alzolay gives up the home run. It's 3-3 in the 9th. So then you go into the 10th and you bring in Drew Smiley. It's like, why Drew Smiley? But it makes sense because Drew Smiley's a long guy. He's stretched out. And if this game goes 17, 18 innings, do you want to burn up your bullpen on day one? So I really like the way he managed the bullpen. Now, I don't like the way the bullpen managed the game and lost. But that's baseball. Good morning, Harlan. What's happening? Christian's in the house. Good morning. Good morning, Brian. He's happy for Brewers opening day. Max says Kleenex is a waste of money. It's not a poor thing either. Change my mind. JW, good morning. What's your thoughts on Madrigal starting at third base last night? I was a little baffled by that. Because I thought Counsell was pretty set on Christopher Morel playing a position, and that position being third base. So when I saw the lineup come out yesterday afternoon, I'm like, wait, why is Morel DHing? If anything, I would have thought Madrigal would be a D. If it's based on matchups, I thought Madrigal would be the DH and Morel would play third base. So I don't know. I don't know why that decision was made. That was in my eyes, that was a weird decision. Other than that, I thought the lineup was good. I like the lineup. JW misses Len. Dan owns a bunch of caps, and the Mets are one of them. And he wants to know who Mark's all-time favorite Met is. I think I know. Is it Felix? I'm probably going to butcher his last name. Milan, Felix. Billy Joe, good morning. It's a free-for-all. There you go. Yes, Felix. Milan, second baseman, 73-77. Jody's in the house. Lately, I just like it and see I get an offer from the seller. That's what I do. If I really want something, like if it's an Adon Sanchez, and if it's priced at something that I'm willing to pay, I don't even mess with an offer. I just buy it outright. If it's something that's like, if it's either high priced or if it's something that I don't really want it, but hey, if I get an offer close to what I would pay for, I'll just hit the like button, see if I get an offer. That's kind of how I roll. Johnny M's in the house. Good morning. In my opinion, if you can't afford to pay $1.75 free shipping for a card, you probably shouldn't be buying cards. But it's not that people can't afford to pay $1.75 free shipping. The problem is they want to negotiate. They want to pay $1.33. It's not about affording it. It's just, I want to get a deal. The talking a card down when you want to buy it is the one thing I don't go for. I call people out every time they try to pull that shit. Yeah, I freaking hate it. And I'm kind of a dick when people do that, like on eBay. It's like, well, it doesn't have nice eye appeal. It's like, well, then don't buy it. Like, if you don't like the eye appeal, then why are you wanting to buy it? Well, because it's a buddy of mine. Like, well, tough shit. Orlando, what's up? Good morning. Johnny M says, getting rid of best offer on $3 and under cards in my eBay has not hurt sales at all. I think it would crush my sales because that's part of my business. Steve Ains Comedy, good morning. Happy Good Friday. Sorry I'm late. Hey, we'll give you a pass. No tardies here. Jody uses eyeglass cleaner. Aha. Red Light 34 said, just sent you a shitload of offers on Reds cards. See, there you go. In fact, I have, let's go to my store right now. I want to give you my thoughts on Topps Big League from a reseller standpoint also. I've got 57 open offers, and I'm probably going to be accepting most of those. So Topps Big League. I listed almost 2,500 singles yesterday. And you're like, how? Well, most of them were quantity, 2,000, just over 2,000 base cards, out of the 195, I think. So 195 listings, but 10 cards a piece. So I listed about 2,500. I did a quick check because somebody said they weren't having success selling Big League. So I went through and ran the numbers at 8:00 last night. And I had already sold, I think 78 was the number. I can probably just go through all orders. I will say it's a slower roll. It's certainly not Top Series 1 where in Bowman, that's where I expect really quick sales. So 40 transactions. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 17, 18, 19, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 35, 45, 55, 61, 62, 64, 65, 66, 75, 76, 77, 78, 87, 97, 98, 107, 110, 111, 112, 113, 118, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 127, 128. 128 out of 2,500. Not a very good percentage. But that's in about, what, 16 hours? So I was hoping for a little faster, especially on like the Yamamoto and some of the stars. I'm actually shocked. The one big shocker of my listings and what has sold the most, Craig Kimbrell, and to like multiple buyers. I wonder how. Let's just see how many transactions and 5 different buyers on the Craig Kimbrell base card. I guess it's his first Orioles card. So there you go. So sales are steady, but a little slower than I was hoping. But all in all, I think it's base is going to carry it. I think Big League is going to be more of the slow burn, where flagship, I'm still selling Topps Series 1. But obviously it's a lot less. It starts off with all of a sudden the first 3 days, nothing but Topps Series 1, and then it's regresses. I think Big League's going to be a slow roll throughout the next 6 months. I think I'll be selling these Big League cards the rest of the year. I don't think there's going to be, there's going to be a big rush right now, significantly less than what a Series 1 or a Bowman or other products would be, but I still think in the long run, it's going to be a pretty profitable venture. Max says, they teach fractions in college there. Worse than I thought, giving Illinois K through 12 teachers too much credit, apparently. Dan says, I enjoy finding Burley cards I have that are not uploaded to TCDB so I can add them. Zach says, playing catch up. Bo, when people ask what your shipping schedule is, you should say hamstring injury. Could be a few days or a few weeks. That's right. What's your handling time? Well, 3 to 4 days or 3 to 4 months. JM Sports Cards, what's up? I have done well selling Big League. Base pays for a case. There you go. There you go. I'm not sure what that's one thing I don't like about the eBay search or the eBay like orders page. Like I can count up the orders and the transactions, but it doesn't say the subtotal. Oh, actually, you know what? I wonder if I download the report. See if this works. I've sold a few of the autographs, which I didn't, and a few of the red super rares. But yeah, the base is going to carry the bulk of it. Oh shit! It does have a sold for tab. Oh, this is very helpful. So let's just do a quick sum. I've done over $400 in gross sales. Holy shit, that's significantly more than I thought. I thought it was going to be like around $250. So $400 in gross sales. Base was what, $950 or something like that? I think it was a similar price as Topps Series 1. It was 50. No, less than that. What was, it's $50? Oh, $1,000. It was $50 a box, 20 boxes. So $1,000. $400 gross sales, probably going to be roughly $275 net on that. So still a ways to go. But a good start for less than a day in. Good morning. Cooter in the Cherry Blossoms are in DC. And Cooter, your photo that you sent yesterday cracked me the hell up. JM says, I'm in the black already on Big League. Got my case Sunday. Holy shit. Did you order direct from Topps? And had most listed by mid-Tuesday. And see, I think that's, my case didn't come until Wednesday. I didn't have most of mine listed until Thursday. So I was behind a couple days. Brian says, I might be having my best month in a long time selling on eBay. I've been really trying to focus on liquid cards and player lots. There you go. let's play Name That Player. So guess what I wasn't prepared for? Name that player. So we're going to spend a few minutes, chat amongst yourselves. We're going to spend a couple minutes here. Hopefully not a couple minutes. Hopefully just briefly. Oh, that's a good one. So we're going to, I want to do this one. Where's he at? So we're going to do a mix. I think there's going to be we'll do mostly baseball, couple basketball, couple football. There was a card in here that I wanted to do, and now I can't find them. These are old stickers that I like. I might have to list these. I bet these will move on eBay. Holy shit, I cannot find that. If I can't find it, I'll just tell you who it was. Oh, there he is. Okay, we found him. Let's see. We'll do, what do you say? 12. Oh, that's a good one because it's, ooh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Oh man, I picked a good pile. I just randomly, the benefit to having, oh, JM's got a distributor. Okay. The benefit to having 3 million cards in your basement is you can just grab a pile and it's perfect for playing Name That Player. I think we're going to use him. Oh, man, this is like the perfect Name That Player pile. Oh, oh my God, there's so many fun cards in here. I should just turn the camera onto the cards because you guys would have a field day with looking at these. Or maybe not. Let's see. I do want to do some basketball because we are in March Madness. Okay, I don't want to do any of these. I like more nostalgia. But I do kind of want to do some modern stuff. And I kind of want to do some March Madness. Some guys that were known for March Madness, but I'm just not finding any. Okay, so maybe we got a couple basketball in here. That's a good one. Who is that? I think that's good just because I didn't know who it was. All right, we're almost there. We're almost there. Maybe we'll have to do, let's pull out I want to do him because he's been a Club 400 staple. All right, and we're going to do a big league. We got to do one big league. One big league. Who are we going to do? Some of these are just all too easy, so we'll do that one. All right. So now we got to mix it up. Let's go to the chat real quick. We've got answers already. Brian says, what is the closest card to your immediate right? Ooh, that's fun. Mine is a 1961 Topps Fred Green. Michael Renicky says Fred Lynn. Michael Renicky says Bo Jackson. Michael Renicky is early guessing. Dan has a 1958 scoreboard back, Menko Shigeo Nagashima. Philly Joe, Mike Marshall, 1970 Topps. Matt Like, Augie Ojeda. That's a good one. Max says sealed special delivery Charizard promo. Sixto Lezcano. Ooh, Bryce Drew. That's a good March Madness name. I did not have a Bryce Drew in that pile. Dan says thumbs up. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up. Eric Amarola. So the immediate card to my right that's not included in the Name That Player cards is a Wade Boggs sticker. Wade Boggs, not a part of Name That Player, by the way. Let's get into it, though. Let's make sure we don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's a really good number. Okay, so we're going to start with that one. Then we'll do basketball. So let me get these in order. And we'll go basketball. Let's do another baseball. basketball. Then we'll do football. That's a fun one. Then we'll do baseball. Then we'll do basketball. We'll do baseball. Do football. Baseball. Basketball. Baseball. Football. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now we start. Name that player. Let's get the scoreboard out. I think Max is running away with Name That Player once again. Actually, not quite a runaway. Flipping Sports Guy is catching up 29-22, and then we drop off a cliff. Joe Trotto's in third with 9. Rich and the Card Hobbyist, along with Dan, each have 7 points apiece. Harlan, Porter have 5. Matt Like and the Flawed Thinker have 4. And then with 3 points each, Huddle Card Collection, Merle, That 70s Card Show, Tom, and with 2 points each, Jordan, Philly Joe, Scotty Dubs, and with 1 point, a whole bunch of people, including Brian Bourne, who's happy that he's on the board. So a couple of these, fortunately, I don't even have to cover up because there's no name on the front. First one, this is the guy that I was looking for. Who is this? You know he's on the White Sox. It's a pretty cool sticker. Might have to list these on eBay. These are fun. We've got a few correct answers rolling in. The first correct answer all the way from South Korea, Dan. Oh, Dan was the first to get Ron Kittle. Ron Kittle. And of course, Dan, with being the big White Sox fan. So Dan, you now move into 4th place. All by your lonesome in 4th. Moving ahead of Rich and the Card Hobbyist. All right. Next up, we're going basketball. And I can't remember if this guy was he wasn't a March Madness hero by any means, but I think he did play in the tournament. And this was around the time that I was getting in to the NCAA tournament and loving March Madness. From George Washington University. Any idea who this is? Yes, he did play in the NBA rather briefly, and I did own a jersey of this guy. We've got some correct answers. You guys are good. Yes, it is Yinka Dare. Yinka Dare from George Washington, drafted by the New Jersey Nets. And I think Matt was the first one. Matt Like with Yinka Dare. I think he's still alive. Either him or Adonal Foyle has passed away. I think it's Adonal Foyle from Colgate that passed away. But maybe it was Yinka Dare. Matt with the point. Where's Matt? Oh, you have 5 points. So you're now tied with Harlan and Porter. All right. Next up, we go to Topps Big League. The latest release. This is a rare blue foil. Oh, did Yinka Dare? Man, Yinka Dare died 20 years ago. Jesus. Who is this? New York Yankees, brand new. Topps Big League. It is not Voldemort, but it is Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe is correct. And the first one, Torres, Harper, Sanchez, Joe Trotto with Anthony Volpe. Joe Trotto. And Joe, where's Joe at? Joe has points. Joe has 10 points now. Joe's in 3rd place. Victor says, crazy keyboard. No non-sport or entertainment today. No non-sport or entertainment. We're going back to basketball. This is a fun one. This is a fun one. San Antonio Spurs, 94-95 Fleer. I'll let this simmer for a moment before I give any clues. All right. Oh, wow. We've got a correct answer already. Let's see. It's not Alito. It's not Anderson. It's not Diao. It's not Elliott. Not Elliott. Not Mario Ely. Mario Ely, good guess. No, but John maybe knew it. Moses Malone, who never played in the NCAA tournament, nor NCAA in general. He went straight from high school to, I think, the ABA and then the NBA. Moses Malone, late in his career with the San Antonio Spurs. John, maybe with the correct answer. And you now have 2 points. John moves up the board. Next up, we're doing football. This is a fun one, but I have a feeling nobody's going to get it. And I'm not going to tell you why just yet. All right. Next one up is football. And Bronco says, love the Spurs then and forgot that happened. Yeah. All right. Football. Do you know who this is? This is, because I'm probably going to have to give a few hints. This is, I believe, 93 Stadium Club. Shane Dronette, good guess, not correct. Not Carl Mecklenburg. This might be his only football card. Not Greg Cragen. Denver Broncos. Probably this guy's, oh, Bronco. Yes. I didn't even have to give the biggest clue. He later became a professional wrestler. Unfortunately, he was paralyzed and he recently passed away. Darren Drozdov. Droz. Yes. Darren Drozdov. What was his was he like he could puke on command, I think? Puke. Darren Broncos on the board. And how many points do you have? Bronco. Where's Bronco at? Merle, Tom, Jordan, Philly Joe. Do you have any points this round, Bronco? No. I'm looking. I thought Bronco had points, but I guess not. By the way, Bronco, you will find tomorrow at the Madison Card Show as well. Bronco, I have you across from Scott and Michael tomorrow. So a little different spot than where you were at last month. Where like the concession stand is. So that's where your spot will be tomorrow. Now we go back to baseball. The hell was that? Oh, it's a bird. You can't come in here. San Francisco Giants. All the way from Korea, Dan's internet is working well today. Korean cardboard. Dan gets the point with Jack Clark. Jack Clark. Funny thing about Jack Clark is I remember seeing, I think it was at one of my local card shops when I was a kid. 1978 Topps was like the most vintage set I had ever seen when I was a kid. It was like 12 years old at this time. This is like 1990. There was a 1978 Topps Jack Clark second year card. It was $4. And I like dreamt of that card. I have no idea why. I think because Jack Clark was towards the end of his career and he was having some good seasons, I think. Dan got that point. And I just dreamed of that card. And I think I eventually bought the card. And I think I paid $4 for it. And I didn't negotiate because I didn't know how to negotiate as a 10-year-old or 9-year-old. At one of the local town festivals in Sheffield, Illinois. Sheffield Homecoming. And they had like a little flea market. And they had the Jack Clark 1978 Topps. And I'm like, I'm going to buy this. I've got my allowance. And now it's worth $0.25. Okay, next up, we've got basketball. This is another late career fun. This is another late career fun card with the Boston Celtics. No, Tom is in his same spot. Chris is back. Chris is usually in that corner spot. And then I've got Derek. I moved Derek into the next spot over, right next to Craig. Dominique is correct. We've got oh wow, Dan again. Dan with fast fingers this morning. Dominique Wilkins, late career Boston Celtics. Dan is the MVP this week. And he is now tied with Joe Trotto for third place, 10 points. Dan's favorite non-Jordan player. Brian just sold that card on eBay. I don't need to cover this one. This is one I looked and I'm like, who in the hell is this guy? I had to look on the back. Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays. Wow, Matt Like. I'm impressed. I thought I was going to have to give some hints on this. He was a backup catcher with a .234 batting average. Ed Sprague. Smashed a 2-run homer off Jeff Reardon. Ed Sprague. Matt Like. And Matt moves up the board. Matt, you are, where are you at? 6 points. So you move up the leaderboard. You leap Harlan and Porter. All right. So we've had some movement in the standings. Max still in first. Paul, the flipping sports guy, still in second. But now in a tie for third is Joe and Dan. Rich and the Card Hobbyist are tied for fifth, and now Matt Like jumps into seventh place. All right, next up, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we still have 5 cards left. Football. This is a tough one, but I'm confident. If you can get Darren Drozdov, you're going to be able to get this one. Matt says, I remember his 1988 Topps Big Team USA card. Oh, yes, the big Ed Sprague. Ooh, Mo Lewis is a good guess, but it's not correct. It is Jones. It is Jones. Not Lewis, not Joyner. Scotty Dubs with Jones. It's Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones. Scotty Dubs. Scotty Dubs, is this your first point, or did you get one last week? Scotty Dubs. Oh, no, you've got 3 points now. Okay, and so you jump ahead of Jordan and Joe and John. All right. Scotty Dubs. And there we go. All right, next up, we're back to baseball. Back to baseball. I've actually hung out with this guy quite a few times here recently. He was at the Club 400 tailgate tent down at spring training. He has been at several Club 400 events lately, and a couple of you know exactly who this is. He's pictured here with the Kansas City Royals. It is Brian McRae. Little Church's Chicken card. Brian McRae, and Dan was the first one to get this one. Dan moving up, and Dan is all alone in third place. Dan with 11 points. All right, Dan. And now we go to basketball. Another fun one. The fun ones for me are the nostalgia. So you know what's going to be 90s here. Dan should go to a casino. There you go. All right. This one I think you'll get pretty fast. Max thinks he's hardwired in. Sean Bradley is correct. Dan, hit that casino. From BYU to the Philadelphia 76ers, the big 7'6" center, Sean Bradley. Dan was the fastest. I love the spelling mistakes when you're typing fast, like Bradley, Matt like Naradley. There was another one down here. Brably. Dan was fastest, and he gets another point. 12 now for Dan, and wow, you're catching up to Flipping Sports Guy. Still 10 behind, but can make that up fast. All right. We are 2 more to go. Ooh, another one. I like these where I don't have to cover up a name. No name to cover up. Boston Red Sox. Jim Rice. That's who I first thought it was. I'm like, is that Jim? Oh, nope. That's not Jim Rice. But it is Tony Armas. Yes. So who was the first to get Armas? It was not Rice, Evans, Rice, Scotty Dubs. Scotty Dubs got it a little faster than Dan. Scotty Dubs with the point. Tony Armas. And Scotty Dubs now at 4 points. So you move up. Scotty, there you go. All right, last card. It's going to be football. All right, this is going to be okay. Oh, there's a clue on the card that's going to give. If there wasn't the stamp on here, I'm like, oh, you guys are going to have a field day with this one. But I think the foil stamp's going to give this one away. It won't trick anybody. He's a quarterback. See, and so it did. It's still even with me saying I think the foil stamp is going to trick you. I had a feeling because at first glance it does look like Joe Montana, but if you look at the foil stamp, it says 1993 draft pick. Steve Bono's a good guess, but Bronco knew it, and he knew it the fastest. It is Elvis Gerbach. Elvis Gerbach. There you go. Michael said the stamp was blurry. Yeah, I guess if you couldn't read the stamp, it could have been like a members only or members choice or whatever. Elvis Gerbach, who got it? Bronco was fast. Elvis Gerbach, Bronco with 2 points today. And so you move up the board and put you up here. There you go. And the comma. So here's our standings. Max with the 29 points has the lead. Paul Flipping Sports Guy in second. Dan moves all the way up to third place with 12. Joe Trotto now in fourth with 10. Rich and the Card Hobby is tied for fifth? Seventh place, Matt Like. Eighth place, Harlan and Porter. 10th place, Flawed Thinker and Scotty Dubs. 12th place, Huddle Card Collection and Merle and John and Tom Gibson. And then with 2 points each, we've got Jordan Brown, Bronco, Philly Joe, and John Maybe. And with 1 point apiece, Mark Marinello, Christian, Brian Bourne, Diego, Michael Renicky, SoCal Guy 1967, Neil Cublin, Dak T-Mac fan, Spam Likely. We haven't seen Spam Likely in a while. Dave Arnold, has a point. Shane has a point. Dat dude from Duryea also with 1 point. So there you go. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow is the Madison Card Show. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolen Drive, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission, 175 dealer tables. You can start out on the first floor, see the State Street Ballroom and the Williamson Ballroom. Left to right if you're coming in the front door by the lobby. Straight back to the left is State Street. Straight back to the right is the Williamson. Go upstairs to the second floor. You'll find the Capitol Ballroom and the mezzanine. 175 dealer tables, free admission, show hours 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come out and have some fun, buy some cards. Hit on my eBay store if you're looking for 2024 Topps Big League. Loaded it up, and we've got about 2,500 singles. Buy 7 or more, and you'll get 25% off those regular price listings. Offers are open, and I'm pretty flexible on accepting those offers if you do them in bulk. What else is going on? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. No Hobby Evolution tomorrow, obviously. We'll be at the Madison Card Show. Sunday morning, we'll review the Madison Card Show, and then probably 9 a.m. Sunday morning. And then we're going to try to be back. We're inching closer and closer back to our normal 7 a.m. start time. It was what, 7:10, 7:15 today. We're getting closer after beating the crud. Although I'm still a little congested, but we're getting better every day. All right. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you Sunday with a show review. Like, subscribe, and happy opening day for those who celebrate.